Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. I want you to know of and experience my presence in the world, because I am here, and so are many others. It seems that you cannot be told that you are being divinely and lovingly guided and watched over enough. I want you to know this not only because it's true, but because of the comfort it may bring. Anything that allows you to relax and feel more comfortable in life is of goodness, of God, and a sign that you are aligned with God, your divine nature. I want you to be able to relax and enjoy life, to sing its praises and know its goodness. That is the truth, and I want you to know the truth. You are watched over and loved. This has always been the case. Humanity and all of creation is cared for, guided, nurtured, and supported by those in other dimensions whose task it is to do this. Our existence is designed to support your existence. I was once a human, and now I help support humanity. This is how it works, although this is a very simplistic way of speaking about something that is so immeasurably complex from your standpoint that it must be reduced to such simplicity. In saying this, I'm not speaking down to you. It's just a fact that your ability to comprehend what's really going on within creation is limited by your hardware, so to speak, not to mention your software. Again, I'm not speaking down to you. The truth is that you are not human at all, any more than I am, but you are temporarily experiencing what it's like to be human. And human beings are quite limited in their ability to reason and understand, particularly when it comes to the nature of the universe. Is this surprising to hear that you are not actually human? It's difficult to see the truth about yourself, and that is what I mean by having a hardware and software problem. You're designed to conceive of yourself a certain way and to be unaware of your divine nature, your true nature. That is not a mistake, but a purposeful, albeit temporary, design that allows your God self to have a particular experience. Please understand that any words I use to describe the truth are quite inadequate to the task, and therefore paint a somewhat distorted picture of the truth, or one that may easily be misunderstood by you. Nevertheless, I will continue to try to speak with you about what's going on, not only in your world, but how our worlds, yours and mine, intersect. Overlap might be a better word for this. Our world, our dimension, overlaps yours. It exists within or interpenetrates yours, so that although most of you cannot see into our dimension, we do see into yours on more levels than you may realize. We see the workings of God as it impacts you and your world. We see your thoughts, we know your feelings, and we understand your motivations, drives, and dreams. We know your lessons, your hardships, what you struggle with, and how you feel you fall short and have failed. We know all about you, more about you than any person can ever know. That is why we are able to guide you. We know about you, and we know how you fit into the whole, and what God, you could say, has in store for you, or how God wants you to grow and evolve for the good of all. We know the meaning of life, and the meaning and purpose of your life and everyone else's. We know things that you don't even know could be known. We understand the narrow perspective from which you look at life and at your circumstances, and we're here to help you see more broadly and more truly. and yet we cannot just tell you all that we know, not only because you may not understand it, but because you're meant to have the more limited experience you're having as a human being. You are not meant to know what we know. When I say we, I mean the many, many non-physical beings of all sorts who are guiding you and guiding the Earth and other third-dimensional planets upon which humanoids exist. You have known me as Jesus the Christ, and I remain that to you, but I have continued to evolve beyond that lifetime, and am tasked at this point in my evolution with guiding the planet and humanity as a whole, and am less of a guide for individuals, although the mission of guiding humanity often includes some individual guidance. I am able to do countless things at once, and to exist everywhere and anywhere that I am needed. You are indeed part of a magnificent creation. There is so much more to it than you realize. You often feel alone and at the mercy of life and the effects of others, but that is not so. You are never alone, nor left to the mercy of negative forces. You are always able to ask for assistance, and when you do, you will receive it. This is one of my most important messages to you today and always. You are never alone, but sometimes you must ask for assistance before it will be given. I say sometimes because you're always given a certain amount of assistance, but for some things you must ask. In doing so, you signal to us that you are ready to receive that type of assistance. This is the purpose of prayer, to ask for the assistance that you need and want. That tells us that you are ready and willing to receive help from us. For certain types of assistance, we need to know that you are ready and willing to receive that assistance. We need to know that your free will is aligned with that request, for we will not transgress your free will. I and many, many other non-physical beings are engaged with the Earth at this very critical time in Earth's history. We are working to influence leaders and others in power and individuals who are playing particular roles in history. We allow people to act on the basis of their free will, while we attempt to steer them in certain directions. Sometimes they listen and sometimes they don't, in which case we continue to try to bring about the plan for Earth as best we can from our dimension. Our main tools for doing this are working through people's intuition and working through people who act as mouthpieces for us. In other words, people are intuitively inspired by us to say what needs to be said or do what needs to be done, or inspired to tell someone else what needs to be said or done. And channels are, of course, a more direct means of communicating what we want to communicate. But please understand that there is much that we are not allowed to communicate or explain to you. There is much that must remain unknown to you because you are not meant to know certain things for various reasons. Knowing some things might interfere with your growth or someone else's growth, or change the course you or someone else is on in a way that might not be beneficial. We have to be very careful, and channels have to be very careful about the information we give people. We have only so much ability to influence people and the course of events, because we are not allowed to infringe on people's free will. Without such restrictions, we could manipulate people and life on Earth any way we chose to, but we must follow certain rules in regard to how we intervene in personal and earthly affairs. Nevertheless, we are usually able to steer a person or a world in the direction of its plan. Only very occasionally we're not, and the lessons then become very difficult for everyone involved. Much of the suffering and challenges that people experience are due to their not heeding the guidance they are receiving from us. Life would be so much easier if everyone were able to be aligned with their divine plan. Life will never be completely easy on earth, however, because it isn't meant to be. There are protagonists and antagonists. People are playing both roles, heroes and villains, and that has always been the case. In part, that's because there are souls of very different ages on earth, and young souls are often quite divorced from love and quite entangled with ego and not so wise. Consequently, many of the challenges people experience and much of their suffering is caused by their poor choices. Nevertheless, everyone learns from everything they experience. Align with your innate goodness and be a force for goodness in the world. The lesson is always to love more. Thank you for being here. I am with you always.